Hey, it's Saturday once again. We're back in A2 land. Happy Saturday. We've jumped back into 15 first thing off the bat. We have some things down there that need attention, but they're running a lay machine down there and coming this way. What I wanted to do is check timing. I want to see if our detector is in time with the gearbox, or if maybe we've got something else that's going on. I mean, there's always a chance that maybe I did a very horrible adjustment on the detector rod, and its position relative to the gearbox is way out of whack enough to where things aren't functioning properly, because this thing seemed to function fine until they lost that moving deck cam follower shaft. So let's start with timing. Let's make sure that our detector is in time with our gearbox. So for testing purposes, we're going to use a drill bit. I do not have a detector timing pin tool. This is a, I don't know, what is this? One size smaller than 1/4 inch. 15/64. We're going to insert this into the timing hole on the gearbox. Oh no, I accidentally flipped you off again. The machine is unplugged, so we are safe-ish to work on this. Let's take a look at the crank arm. Our crank arm is bisecting, the rod is bisecting the split on the crank arm. It's ever so slightly taller. Not terribly. What we can do, let's engage our clutch. And let's move backwards ever so slightly. There. Now we're dead set at 0. Book spec 0. So let's get our timing pin, our makeshift timing pin installed. And look at that. It goes right in. So timing is good. Can you see that? All the way through the gear. So we are timed properly. There's nothing out of time here. Took a little bit of checking, but I think I found it. Our moving deck scissors cam, totally trashed. Right down here, you see this black line? That's a ridge. This cam surface is severely worn. So what's happening here, let me zoom out again. What's happening is that worn cam is allowing that scissors selector, or not scissors selector, scissors cam follower to drop down sooner than it should, and it's trapping the D shaft. It's preventing our D shaft from fully rotating and preventing that bearing from sitting fully in the low dwell. So for anybody that said, oh, I'm glad that 1-to-1 didn't get trashed, no, it didn't get trashed because of that moving deck cam follower. It just happened to be garbage before we started, and clearing up all the other issues presented another one. So awesome. We can add another 1-to-1 to the list of things that need to be done. So this is official diagnosis. Moving deck scissors cam trash. Probably best bet is to swap out the 1-to-1 with something that's rebuilt. Let's move on to the next thing. We can, at least we've got a confirmed diagnosis here. All right, jumping on to the next lane, lane number 5. The note on the board is it's very dark in here. The lights above this machine are not working, so bring some auxiliary lighting in here. The note on the board, for real, it says machine won't set pins. So we'll put a jumper in our box here, turn it on, and try to see as much as we can see given our extremely low ambient light levels. No, I got no power. I got the jumper in, breakers on, drop cords in, rear switches on. Let's go check our masking unit switch. Well, the masking unit switch is fine. Let's check our plug here for our masking unit. That looks good. There is no, you can't see. It doesn't appear that our deck jam switch is open. It doesn't appear that our turret jam switch is open either. Fuse, yeah, it's there. Appears to be intact. Pinsetter does not have a 1 amp fuse present on the exterior of the circuit box, so well, we can get the meter, check for incoming voltage. I found it. It was a problem with my jumper. So let's turn it on and see what we can see. Need more lights though. Like that. So we're on second ball. We are not on second ball. Shifted to set pins. We're stopping, our gearbox clutch is stopping very low. Second ball. Whoa, and the deck fell off the holding hook. This is not awesome. Alright, so first of all, gearbox clutch adjustment. You see how we're stopping just a little low there? That would be caused usually by gearbox friction disc components wearing down. The machine stops earlier and earlier and earlier in its cycle. So let's manually trip the clutch and go to 0 right here. We clicked it back into first ball. Deck holding hook's got quite a bit of free play in it. We should start there. We'll need a 15/16 open end wrench. So we need to loosen our lower tube jam nut. Yeah. Gonna thread our nut off a little bit. We're going to thread our stud out. See how the deck holding hook's lifting up? It's not supposed to do that. We're gonna go all the way out. Then we're gonna loosen our top jam nut. Yeah. Thread the nut up on the adjuster stud, if we can. That works. There's an Allen head slot in here. You can get an Allen head to hold your stud free, but I think we're good. We need to, so you guys watch the hook. I'm gonna thread our top adjuster stud out. We're looking for the edge of the hook to bisect the pin on the deck shaft. That looks about okay. Might be ever so slightly high, but that's not a big deal. Next step, go back down to the lower adjusting tube. We want to thread that adjuster stud in until we just meet some resistance. We don't want to compress the spring or the pin in there. Right there. We just encounter resistance. No more free play. She's solid. I'm going to need 2 hands, but I'm going to lock these jam nuts. And this adjustment's good to go. So now that that adjustment is complete, we are on first ball. Let's manually engage second ball. Perfect. Back to first ball. So let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. First ball. Second ball. Deck shifts to set pins. It's so loud in here. Cross conveyor struggling here. Oh. Yeah, a piece of capping. Nice. Okay. Cool. So what I'm gonna do, our gap here is just a little bit on the big side. I'm gonna grab two 1 1/8 inch wrenches. We're gonna close our gap on our cone just a little bit. I realize we have a bunch of excessively worn parts here. What we do not have is replacement clutch parts to do a complete service on this gearbox clutch. So we're gonna make an adjustment. We're gonna run it a little bit and retest it, and then that should be what we need. We can also turn it on. We can roll a couple of balls down there and see if any other goofy stuff happens. Do you guys want to see something really, pardon my French, really fucked up? Hold on. You see the whole 1-to-1 rock? How it's just all over the place? This is catastrophic 1-to-1 failure. Wow, I've never seen that before. I've been around A2 pin setters for 27 years. Let's see if I can zoom in here. The leg, this whole support leg is cracked. I'm sure there's more, but it's hiding in the shadows. This thing's junked. All right, so we've kind of diagnosed 15 with a bad 1-to-1, right? Our moving deck scissors cam. Lane number 5, we did that deck holding hook adjustment, but then we discovered the broken cover on the 1-to-1. 18, we've been to the last 2 weeks in a row. We know that 1-to-1 is literally falling off the side of the gearbox. It looks like it might have some broken screws in there, the way 25 did. So we got this, note that they, the gearbox somehow is binding or something. I mean, we can take a look at it, but I think we're going to come to the same conclusion that it's probably time for a 1-to-1. The same conclusion we came to the last 2 weeks in a row when they had us look at it. Oh boy. Let's go look at it for a third time, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? So on today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up, this one's pretty bad. Our rake is not in the fully up or fully down position. Rake cam follower bearing is not contacting the surface of the rake cam, and the rake cam follower base is contacting the surface of the rake cam and creating a bind that way. Yeah. Our 1-to-1, hold on, I'm too close, zoomed in too close. Our 1-to-1 is actually starting to pull away. Let's see if I can focus, please. It's not focusing. Hold on. Yeah, we're still zoomed in a little close, but you see that black line right there? That's a gap between the gearbox and the 1-to-1. Oh man. So we are up to 3 lanes that need 1-to-1s. So guess what? I'm only available 1 day a week. I can't do 3 1-to-1s for them. They're gonna need maybe some more professional assistance here, more than I can give them. If I do a 1-to-1, that's the only thing I'm going to do here in a day. And they often have 4, 5, 6 things to look at. Yeah, so we might be recruiting some assistants. Well, let's go to lane 2. Won't reset. Won't reset consistently. I wonder if we're gonna find a bad 1-to-1 here also. We'll get to lane 1 next. They pulled the pit cushion linkage off to repair it. So they're capable of doing it, but the thought was, if I'm here, I can probably do it quicker and easier. And I don't mind, right? It's not something that I can't do. But yeah, if we're here on 2, we'll just toss this one in for free, right? So let's push our rear mechanics reset. Cycles. Let's go check our ball detect. Our bracket was a little bit out of whack. I didn't get it on camera, but I barely touched it, flexed it downward, and our lights dipped out. So we're good now. Check our Molex connectors back here, wiggle the wires. It's not dropping out. So we should be okay here. What we can do is we'll go up front, we'll roll a couple of balls. I'm not gonna get that on camera. But if we know if we roll bowling balls through the machine, we're cycling on the ball detector. And that will tell us if our camera board out there is functioning properly. So the sequence of operation is that a ball is rolled down through here, and your infrared transceiver, what we call a ball detect, reads that break in the beam. That signal is translated down to the camera board out there, and it does 2 things. Number 1, it cycles the machine, and number 2, the camera takes a picture of the pins that are standing and then relays that up to the scoring box up there and displays it on the overhead screen. So I've rolled a couple bowling balls, and the ball detect works. Our reset button on the ball rack here does not appear to be functioning at all. So we run back to the tool bag, and let's grab a meter. So you guys are laying on the approach looking up at this bottom side of the reset button. What we're gonna do, we've got it set to tone. We're looking for the circuit to close when we push the button. Nope. He's pushing the button. We have a bad reset button assembly here. Should be able to meter these pins and get some voltage across them. Yep. We are detecting voltage across the pins for our supply. So we've got a good cable here. We've got a bad reset button assembly. What I'd like to do is strip that heat shrink off and meter from the leg of the switch to the leg of the plug. Oh no. Well, in my endeavor to peel back the heat shrink, we have removed both wires, so I'm guessing they were probably both cracked. I'm gonna see if the switch works. We're gonna meter the legs directly on the switch while we push the button. I'm not gonna do that on camera, pardon me. But if the switch works, what we'll do is we will repair this damaged connection. Yeah, switch tests good. We had some bad wires though. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Let's try. No, it's not gonna work. I think that'll work. Yep. We're good. we've got her all put back together, and it works. I'm not going to show you a picture of the down lane because it contains the name of the center we are at today. So this is good. They managed to, they got a Dremel and they buzzed out the opening for the reset buttons here. So that should help prevent them from sticking again. And they're actively working towards reinstalling and hooking up all of these reset buttons, which is good. Nice, we're done here. At least we got to repair one thing. I skipped ahead. We traveled forward into the future. I didn't get any of the pit cushion linkage being reinstalled. I don't remember if I've done that on video or not. Either way, it didn't seem super important. So we kind of traced it back to our curved shoe here is sticky. So we're gonna lube it and see if that helps. So it's got her lubed down, but we need to, I guess, maybe wait for it to soak in a little bit because she's still a little stuck.
Yeah, it's snapped clean off.
We're hanging up right here. The bolt fell out.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Yeah, check it out. That bolt was backed out and the whole shaft is rotated. So our C lever has dropped down on top of our curved shoe for the outer range. Super duper. Yep, that did it. That cleared our bind. We just kind of dropped the rake and kind of finagled that shaft around until the stud lined up with the bolt holes, and we put our second bolt back in. So we're we are golden now. I neglected to mention that in order to take stress off of that shaft, we removed our rake drop springs. And then I turned the machine on and tried to cycle it, and it yeeted deadwood out onto the lane surface. So let's get our rake drop springs installed. We'll go fetch our deadwood and we'll try it again. So we're still on lane number 1. We noticed when we ran the machine, the rake board was scraping the surface of the lane. And there's a bolt missing in this 3-piece rake assembly. All right, we got a bolt in here. Let's recheck our rake board height while it's sweeping. All right, lane number 1 is done. We got our pit cushion linkage on. We got our pit cushion on. We took care of that bind in our claw shaft. We took care of a wobbly rake arm. We did our rake board height adjustments. Feels like we have been on this one for a very long time. So let's take a look. Lane number 2, we got our reset button on the ball rack fixed. I didn't get it on camera, but 28, we replaced the cannon plug going into the reset button, the 2-pin cannon at the top of the circuit box. I was going to jump into 41 as the last thing today, but they gave out lane number 40 and lane number 42. So I'm going to hold off on that because we've got open play on each side, and I don't want to accidentally drop a tool or a part or put my body inadvertently into another pin setter that's operational directly next to me. So yeah, pretty good job overall today. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of one-to-ones that are broken, and they do not have any spares, nor do I have the time right now to do them. So we're gonna see if we can source some rebuilt one-to-ones, and I will give them a list of parts so that we can take some of the ones that come out and rebuild them locally, like in my workshop with my press. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. It's getting late, time to go home. They're getting busy.